Well, hello again. Welcome back so soon. I always feel a little extra pressure to get another one of these out after I do one that's real big gat heavy. Partially as a palate cleanser and partially just not to abuse y'all's patience too much, if I'm being honest. Hit that thumbs up for me if you would be so kind. Today we are doing the 7th chapter of the second book of Moses called Exodus. Let's jump right in. And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, at he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. The Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spake unto Pharaoh. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt, and they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, he refuseth to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the water. And thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come, and the rod which was turned to a serpent shalt thou take in thine hand. And thou shalt say unto him, The Lord God of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto thou wouldst not hear. Thus saith the Lord, In this shalt thou know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loth to drink of the water of the river. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. And Moses and Aaron did so, as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod, and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river. And there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after that the Lord had smitten the river. And that's Exodus chapter 7. Magic measuring contest. Okay, so God had warned Moses going into this that he was going to harden Pharaoh's heart. And Moses had protested to God that Pharaoh wasn't likely to listen to him anyway because he was a nobody. But he went and he said, and took the little coterie, the union representatives, with him to Pharaoh and said, we're going to go into the desert. This was back in 6. And Pharaoh hardened his own heart that time, and would not let the people go, and increased their burdens. They bellyached to Moses and Aaron. And Moses bellyached to the Lord, and the Lord said, all right, remember that stick into snake trick that I told you to do for the children of Israel if they didn't believe that I sent you? So you do that for Pharaoh. Forget the leprous hand thing. That's not going to sway Pharaoh. But do the stick into snake business. So they go, and they say unto Pharaoh, let my people go. And he says, I will not. Moses says, well, what about this? And he takes his walking stick and throws it down on the ground, or Aaron, rather. He tells Aaron to take his walking stick and throw it down on the ground, and it turns into a snake. And Pharaoh says, saying it, hey, Bob, come over here and show him that thing you did for Nana. Yeah, these boys just showed us what they can do with their sticks. Show them what you can do with your stick. And Bob throws his stick on the ground, and it becomes a snake. So do Larry and Curly. And then Aaron's snake eats all the other snakes, and they have no walking sticks left, those poor magicians of Egypt. And we'll never know what might have happened next, because God, in his infinite wisdom, decides to reach into Pharaoh's heart and change his mind to give himself an excuse to do more impressive stuff. So Pharaoh says, we can make more walking sticks for my magicians. You ain't going nowhere. And he goes back into the house. And Aaron turns to Moses, turns to God, and says, well, that went well. Is this part of the plan? I've been going through so much coffee lately. Oh, pardon me. So anyway, says that went well. And God says, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet, and neither has Pharaoh. Here's what's going to happen next. When Pharaoh goes out for his morning constitutional tomorrow, I want y'all to be standing there waiting for him. And when he rolls up, I want you to hit the river with your magic snake stick, and it's going to turn into blood. And say, we're here from God. You let my people go. And I will harden his heart again, and he will not let the people go. And then, Moses, I want you to tell Aaron to make a grand gesture towards all of the land of Egypt, and all their water is going to turn into blood. In the swimming pools, and in the Dasani bottles, and in the puddles under the porch, and everything. It's all going to turn into blood. So they go down the next morning, and they wait for Pharaoh to come down to the river to make his ablutions, and they say, hey, guess what? He says, I can't even imagine 2 octogenarians coming around first thing in the morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet. I imagine you're here to repeat what you've been repeating at me for like the last 3 weeks. They say, yeah, pretty much. He says, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. I need my workforce. And Moses says, okay, Aaron. And Aaron says, okay, Moses. And he hits the water, and it turns into blood and stinks, and all the fish float. And here's where it gets weird. Yeah. Well, here's where it gets weird, is Pharaoh's magicians do the same trick. Now, mind you, Aaron has just turned all the water in the Nile and all throughout the entire land of Egypt, even the water that's in pots inside people's houses. He's turned it all to blood. What are the Egyptian magicians changing into blood? Or do they change it back to water and then back to blood? And then just neglect to change it back into water again so that it's drinkable for some reason? It makes no damn sense. In a book full of stuff that makes no damn sense, that one bit, I mean, it doesn't follow logically, it doesn't follow narratively, it doesn't make any sense theologically. It's just, it's like somebody copied and pasted one too many times. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he turned around and went back into the house. And the Egyptians had to dig in the ground outside the river for water, because while apparently the power of God is sufficient to turn the entire Nile to water, and also everybody's water bottles and swimming pools and every other dang thing into blood, it's not sufficient to reach down quite all the way to the water table. And stuff stays like that for 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, we go into chapter 8. What did the magicians turn into what? And if they could turn it back into water to demonstrate that they could turn it into blood themselves, why in heaven's name wouldn't they just leave it water? Yep. And again, except for the constant repetition, where God keeps saying, here's what I want you to say when you get there, and then them going there and saying exactly the same thing. Sometimes it feels like they include the fact that they were told this is what to say, and then they tell that, and then they tell what the... Ugh. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll be back soon with Genesis chapter 8. Exodus chapter 8. I'm sorry, y'all. I said Exodus at the end of it. Now I can't even say the wrong thing right. We'll be back next time with the next chapter, and until then, y'all take care. Poke the Pope to subscribe. Check out the playlist somewhere in this area if you've missed any of Exodus thus far. And we'll see you again soon.